Right, guys, and coming online just a second here. And we are going to be watching Flash versus Last in the only professional StarCraft game that they have played against each other. Now, the ASL tournament is coming up. Let me see about getting me back on the screen here. Okay, so this is the only time, like I said just a second ago, that they have played a professional game. But there is the potential for them, now that the round of 8 is about to begin for the Africa Star League, for them to meet up against each other one more time. And so, you know, it's probably either going to be in the Final Four or in the finals. I'm not sure how the brackets lined up right now. I haven't actually looked at that. But if Flash versus Last play each other, it's going to be like God versus Machine. You know, God has no control over Machine, clearly. So who is the better of these two forces? So we're going to watch the old VOD that has over 21,000 views on it. And I have no idea who wins this. So I'm going to be as excited as you guys are watching this for the first time. These two players compete against each other. Because let's not kid ourselves. No one watched STX games back when STX was around. And if you're that one STX fan out there, I'm sorry. Okay, let's bring this up here. Cool, cool, cool. And then, of course, I believe I can just pop myself on top here and adjust that as needed. Alright, guys, we're going into Flash versus Last, a TVT, of course. Both these players, top Terran players in the current scene right now. You know, it's 2016, but we are watching a game from 2011. I'm sorry if that kills off the hype if you guys thought this was going to be live. But I can't find a more current TVT between these two players. They haven't played each other in any of these current scenes right now. KCM Legend matches, they were on the same team. Now in the Africa Star League. The bracket here, okay. Let's see, someone actually provided it for me. Let me see if I could pull that up. Thank you so much. I know I should look at it. Oh, okay, so Last and Flash are going to be playing each other in the quarterfinals. They are playing each other in the round of 8. That is awesome. So this is even better than I expected. I knew they were going to play. I thought they were on the same side, but I didn't know it was the round of 8. This is better. Thank you so much for that, Heno12. And I welcome you all to my Thursday cast. If you enjoy this, come back next Thursday. And every Thursday I try and think of something unique. I analyzed Overwatch 2 weeks ago. And Throwback Mountains I analyzed just last week. Flash versus Zero analysis on Overwatch was absolutely a blast. So I think you guys really need to be a part of that. Now, I'm going to add on top of this screen here too where these players are, because I think it will help you in case you have trouble seeing it specifically on the screen. Now, if any of you guys watch the VOD and go back, Flash pulled out his ruler, and he actually had his ruler on the screen. So I thought that was awesome. It's a really important thing to him. And in fact, there are many ceremonies where people, in StarCraft 2, there was a ceremony where Parting, a Protoss player, took the ruler and pretended it was a gun and shot it at Flash after he defeated him in a Pro League match. So I thought that was, you know, one of the more hilarious, fun things that you could do during Pro League. And you know, hopefully we get that kind of fun continuing over in the StarCraft 1 scene. Obviously, if you watch people stream, who was it? Best versus Jico were actually playing each other in a best of 5 that turned into like a best of 10. And if you guys don't know, Jico is the rumored Jaedong, but at this point I've been instructed not to confirm or deny who Jaedong is. So I'm not going to tell you whether or not Jaedong is playing StarCraft 1 or what his handle would be if he was. But he is not, or maybe, playing StarCraft 1. Okay, so that's about what you're going to get from me here. Now we see that a forward barracks is being built out by those bridges here. And what is this here? I have to have the stream on mute. Where's... Oh, okay. So, for those of you who are asking, this is the SPL Flash versus Last 2011. It is June 9th on Circuit Breaker. So very, very cool. Yeah, I can actually give you the VOD here if you feel like spoiling it yourselves. There you go. And now as we continue into this, there was that initial barracks built forward, and what we've seen that was really popularized by Mind, and maybe we're going to be seeing it here too, but popularized by Mind was the ability to build your barracks out towards your opponent more, so you can help mitigate the further bases if you want to be able to scout out with your barracks, because it's really nice to have your barracks at your opponent's base, despite whether your timing is to have tanks to do some sort of light soft contain in an early TVT, or just to have the constant scouting out there. It's great to just be able to float that barracks quicker. Like an overlord, it just takes forever to get to your opponent's base, so build it in the middle of the map. I mean, there's no loss there. You can still build a marine if you need to. You're not going to lose to any early game pressure. There's not a problem. And so now we're seeing Mind. Flash did it actually in his just most previous TVT games, where he built it like in the middle of the map and just chose a direction to send it in. Thank you guys so much for watching this stream and saying you love me. I really appreciate it. There's nothing more fun than just being able to talk for a couple hours while having StarCraft on the screen. Oh, that is a worried fan. She must be an STX fan if she's worried like that. I mean, I don't think that Flash fans were ever worried. Ever. Even when you think, SKT versus KT finals where Bisu rolled over Flash and demolished him in the last great game of StarCraft 1 in the Kespa era ever. I'm not saying I'm a Bisu fan, but that was awesome. All right. So we're going to have to continue here with the fact that Flash over at this 11 o'clock position, he does have the bunker at the front with his barracks sitting there. And I guess the one advantage that he does have for his barracks remaining at his natural base is the fact that he is going to clog up a little bit more of that large choke point where there's potential run bys that can occur from vultures. So, there's a little bit of a take, but you can actually do like a 2 supply depot wall along with a bunker and leave just enough space. And if you need to, you can clog it up with, let's say, a vulture or a couple SCVs. So it's actually generally better to go supply depot, bunker over, let's leave your barracks there and then not have it for this overlord style scouting. So going to be getting inside of this base here is going to be really important. Look at that. We have a starport clicked on, but whose base? Okay, so in the left corner of the natural base, this is so typical Flash, because we saw him on Throwback Mountains go for a really fast starport versus C in the Africa Star League. And he really wanted to go for that Wraith early harassment play. It's nice to go ahead and have that starport done anyway. And eventually you can transition into dropship play with vultures too. So Flash really loves this style in TVT, where he can get that starport early on. The problem that, if you guys watched it at Africa Star League though, the problem versus C is he did it off one base and had no transition plan. What I like a lot more here is that he got the natural base first, and now he's getting his starport to mix in with this grouping. So that's something you need to just kind of keep track of. That natural base in Throwback Mountains is like a really, really important base. And it's the only safe base that you can take outside of your main base. I mean, given there's a lot of different ways to attack the natural, but taking a third is really tough regardless of the matchup. Okay, now I'm taking a quick water break here. And the one thing that you gain by watching me on the stream is that I guess you get to see when I'm just kind of like all over the place or drinking my water. Oh, and that barracks is going to go down. Eventually, I guess. Not a big deal here. Just kind of got that Wraith there sitting on top of the barracks doing its attack. Look at that, just kind of like wasting his micro away. But Flash, he's got a good advantage now. He got the faster command center at his natural, but both these players are just kind of working their way up towards this mech mid-game style. Obviously, it's going to be really important that Last does get that the Academy, because he's going to need concept stations to scan if Wraith upgrades do come along, and he's going to have to deal with cloaked Wraiths. Never fun when you lose your tanks to like 2 or 3 cloaked Wraiths. Oh, so this is beautiful. This is a really huge mistake by Last, by the way, who we would never see this. And oh my god, look at that! The quadruple vulture death to take out that tank. That was awesome. Okay, I think Last was pretty disappointed with how he played that out there, but that Wraith giving him the additional vision to be able to hit Last tanks, Flash played that out really beautifully. He's going to take that 4 Vulture to 1 tank trade any day. He still has the advantage. He's encroaching on this middle of the map ground here. And if you're going to work for that map split scenario, you really want to start to kind of take your positionings first and allow your opponent to move into your siege tank range and take those additional shots. It's always harder to be the second person to push out, especially when you're fighting for the same territory. But a couple Goliaths are forced out here to deal with the race. Last refusing to go for starports in response. What we saw from C is that in response to Flash's starport is he went 2 starports instead. But a lot of Terran players do feel comfortable going with Goliaths. They have that nice long range. They can hit with them. The problem is when you find yourselves on maps that really lack the mobility to move your Goliaths around. Circuit Breaker is a great map for moving Goliaths. Despite the fact that it's a large map, it's not tough terrain. You don't ever have to nanny drive your Goliaths around the map to really get them where you want to. You can just kind of, move them there, and they're going to get to that position. So these Goliaths going to do a decent job probably here. Just kind of, no way! He allowed that tank to go, and the Goliaths not getting in themselves in a good position here. This is clearly not the Last that we're accustomed to right now. Skill level so much better at this point. But another huge mistake here, allowing that Wraith to scout out for the siege tank fire and hit in the long range. Just absolutely crazy there. He is trying to take that high ground, though. So he's establishing the high ground positioning here in the way that he is, because Terran players have to move down to that 6 and 12 o'clock position. As you can see, Flash has got this little dot going up there at the 12 o'clock position too. And if you get on the high ground between the mineral only and then that 6 o'clock there, you can kind of protect the entire range of area here, where maybe only Vulture run-bys can pick off SCVs, but you can't have huge army positions, take over your bases, is if you have that high ground between those 2 base locations. Okay, so we're just seeing a set of Vultures going at each other here, but this is really rather an insignificant war going on the right side of the map. It's all about Flash right now, and I don't know how well you guys can see it because it's kind of an old grainy look on this YouTube video, but Flash is really just starting to do a nice split across the map here. You can see that his brown is just starting to take over here, and this is really looking good for the god level player of KT Rawlster. And you can see that, and the score here, it's 2-1. So if Flash takes this win, I believe it was best of 5s, and they would have won this matchup 3-1. So Last is going to have an about face here for his team. Taking another win will allow them to go towards that ace match play, which of course Flash probably would get sent back out if it was an ace match. So that's pretty hilarious. All right. So you can see the focus of the god level player here. His TVT, absolutely amazing. He's devastating TVT records. I don't know if anybody has a better TVT win rate like in a row. Who has the most wins in a row is kind of the big question. Does Ilo Vuv or Nana have a more consecutive win rate? Yep, so we're going to have to look at this. Flash is actually kind of delayed going for that top base, and instead I guess he's kind of expanding towards his opponent instead, possibly taking that 9 o'clock location, unless that's just a series of mines there. Meanwhile, he's trying to just tear down this position on the low ground. Can he get mines off to kill off these tanks? No, okay, so the tanks are still in a really good position. You always want to have Vultures to kind of just like guard your tanks there, and Last just had just enough here as he's defending at the bottom. These tanks on the high ground, they're not going to be doing too much, because at least the scans for Last are going to constantly be going down until of course he has to send a unit over to just kind of get vision of the high ground. Flash is not dedicating a lot of tanks to this attack because he knows that he wants to be able to guard the left side of the map, the mid area, so that way Last can break through and attack the top left. But Last taking a 3rd and 4th base right now is going to be really, really strong for him. And what's Flash's game plan if he falls behind bases like he is right now? So the command center is going to be up shortly. Meanwhile, he is mining pretty nicely from that mineral only, which means we will be probably seeing lots of vultures coming out here. Look at this! Starports coming out for last. And I always love the players that respond to building more starports than the person who goes for wraiths first. That's usually what happens. No, there's no hacks coming in this. And if you saw the game I casted before this, where it was bot versus bot, LitaBot had what, 2,000 plus APM. Unfortunately, he did lose that game. That'd be like Flash playing versus BisuDagger, another STX player, also a Zerg though, and he really floats around like 600 APM. He is absolutely insane when it comes to that number. Okay, but here, this is the old style play that we used to see in TVTs, and actually it plays out really well for Circuit Breaker. Why? Because this map is huge, and you need to find a way to increase your mobility. And if you're not going to go with race, you got to go with dropships. So dropships are going to allow Last to pick up tanks, and like you see with shuttles and zealots, just kind of do like tank bombs on top of other siege lines. And once those siege tanks are taken out by your opponent, then you siege your tanks up and you take that territory. And the only way Flash can punish it is if he has his own line of dropships. So we're going to see this dropship style option coming out for Last. The one thing he has to do though is make sure that he does have Glyce with his dropships when he drops them out. I think it would be a big mistake if he gets himself caught off guard losing all his dropships, because Wraiths are able to catch him out there. Flash, though, he does have 3 bases right now. At this point, he expanded towards the 9 o'clock position, being so bold, saying, you know, the 9 o'clock base is a really hard base to expand towards. It's not the standard default location, but because Flash had such an early contain and map split, he's mining for that 9 o'clock, and even if he loses it, he's still going to have a really fresh 12 o'clock location base that he can mine from later on in this game, where it's even more defensible. So he's like planning not just late game, but late game, where, okay, if I mine from these closer, more dangerous bases early on, then in the late game, I'm going to be able to turtle up really, really ridiculously well, and it's going to be tough for my opponent. So the wear and tear is just trying to come down for Flash on top of that that base at the 6 o'clock location. But these siege tanks, they're really not getting in the proper range to be able to lay down attacks here. And look at this dropship play coming up. Oh, let's go back to the dropships. Where are they? No, we're just seeing some vultures attack at these tanks right now. Okay, so the dropships are going to be heading down from this bottom left location of Last base. And which base are they going to drop into? That is a ton of turrets. I do like the fact that he added in a Valkyrie here. Why not? You already got the army built. Valkyries just destroy the paper airplanes that are wraiths. We all have been been witness to that in ASL. This is a huge drop. Oh my god. These wraiths, though, as long as he does put down a scan, he does have Glyce in range here, too. So, like I said, he wouldn't want to have Glyce with this. He's going to need to unsiege and lift very quickly, though. Try and get all this army out as quickly as possible. He forced it to lift on the command center. All the tanks kind of had to get out of position for Flash to respond to this location. But what's he going to do with those wraiths? The wraiths aren't going to easily be able to take out that army on the low ground. Maybe they should go ahead and counterattack, kill off the SCVs that may be lingering inside of that main base of Last. Definitely a really good option for him. I like to see when a Terran player is really active with those wraiths, instead of saying, well, you know, it seems like you've got the proper stuff, I'm not going to poke around anymore, and find where you're going to be weak. But there's definitely a clear weakness here. Man, if only Flash flew his wraiths just to the left of that 6 o'clock location, he'd kill off all the dropships and destroy the mobility of Last. He's got to scan, and that's what I'm thinking. He's got to scan as many places as possible and find where Last dropships might be just hanging out, and with the off chance that he could kill them off. But I'm sure Flash is just trying to think about what he can do to get himself back in this game economically. Being down 2 bases, meanwhile, a new command center being built at the top right for Flash. He will be taking that 9 o'clock again. I'm sure he's probably going to, at some point, try and lift that, land that command center. But honestly, why not take it and bring it up north? Bring it to that mineral only if you have to. What's the point of leaving the command center there? That girl looks a little bit less nervous than she did earlier. So maybe she started to believe in Last and his ability to TVT against the master of all StarCraft. If you guys hear that in the background, I apologize. My dogs get very impatient with me when I start to cast because I straight up ignore them. Look at this drop, though. A huge bust out coming here. This is exactly what I was talking about, using these drops here. But, oh my god, look at all those siege tanks that sieged up. The Rays coming in here. 3 tanks taken out, too. The Rays are going for the dropships. Oh, this is a crippling move. And GG! No way! No way! Last threw away the entire game in one move. Wow. Wow, that's like losing the queen, the bishop, the rook, the knight, all in one move. Oh my god. KT takes that win. Oh my goodness. That was disgusting. Are you Are you guys as surprised as I am how that ended? He looked like he could have won that game. Oh boy. All right. Well, I thought I had more time to cast this game. I mean, this could have taken us till 10:30. I usually like to use the whole hour when I do cast. But, no. I've still got like 15 minutes to spare here. Yeah, that was a big time throw. I could have believed that game. Alright, let me see if I can find you guys something amusing to kind of fill the void here. Alright, we're going to the Book of Records. Alright, let's see here. Book of Records. Okay, I've never seen this before, and I think this would be extremely amusing if I could find the VOD for it. I'm gonna put on some chill music, guys. Hang out real quick while I figure this out. All right, guys. We're going to do something a little bit different here. Let's see if I can bring back on the screen that we had. Where was that? Bam! Okay, it looks like everything's fitting in here just about. I could probably make it wider. Alright, guys. So, we are going to watch one more game. I'm going to keep it short here. And, did BisuDagger decide not to use his mouse on the screen because the red YouTube bar always got in the way? You're right, it does always get in the way. You know, if I was actually trying to talk through a replay, then my mouse would be in the way. But otherwise, I can just kind of keep my mouse off. But yeah, that was an issue last time because I was always trying to pause it. And I'll have to use my keyboard from now on, of course. But guys, we're going to watch a Boxer versus Stork game. And you'll find out what's the deal in this. All right. Oh, of course, let me turn the volume on here. Get a little bit in the background. Oh, there's already English commentary in the background, so never mind. Alright, well, you'll just watch this on silent. It's not going to be a long one, I promise you that. But I've never watched this one before, and so I figured I'd throw it on for you guys while I just kind of cast out the rest of my hour. And, man, guys, this is going to take us all the way back to 2007. Can you believe that Boxer was still even playing in 2007? I mean, when you think about it, he really became a lot less relevant, you know, starting around the 2005-2006 time period where Xavier started to take over. You know, Nada was, and July Zerg and all of them were doing really well. Bisu was coming onto the scene, but Stork started out really strong, I believe, 2005. One of the older Protoss players here also, but only a couple years into the scene, being pretty fresh here. Guys, Flash vs. Last was already played. You missed the game if you're coming in right now. The VOD will be up very shortly if you do want to watch it. So you can watch that afterwards. Right now, we're just watching something that is supposed to be some sort of chaotic game. So if you guys aren't aware, there's this really cool part of Team Liquid that I always reference when I'm looking for a cast. And it's this. It is the Book of Records. So you can watch the longest broadcasted games, the fastest wins, draws in professional StarCraft, win-loss streaks. You know, when I was asking what was the longest win streak for TVT, it's Flash, who has a 22-0 win streak record. God, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, pretty cool to put that out there in case you guys didn't know. But what are we seeing here? This is a pretty strange game going on so far. While you know, both these players are basically proxying each other. So we're seeing a 2 racks versus like a double gateway, a double gateway attack for Stork. Are you kidding me? So both these players have decided to cheese each other in this game. The second gateway is on the way. Meanwhile, you know, Stork has put a probe inside of his opponent's base, and notice that there isn't double barracks there. And don't be distracted by that sunken colony. There are several old maps where they actually used to put sunkens, which actually allows you to do like a sunken rush if you want to, or some sort of weird thing if you want with the creep. But that's neither here nor there. Stork doesn't know what to do, but there are going to be Marines heading over to this top right location, and 2 SCVs already there too, trying to take down that pylon, just trying to do what damage they can do. Already, I gotta say the disadvantage is to Stork, because if the probes are killed off, Boxer, all he has to do is just lift the command center, and then he could go for the draw. So that's always the advantage if you go into these early cheese versus cheese shenanigans here. But there's a Zealot already with 2 kills on the way, so this is just as crazy as ever. All these fans are really nervous. A lot of Boxer fans in the stands, as they absolutely love watching him here. And yes, this is a Pro League matchup, even though you see that the OSL symbol is on the top right. Shinhan Bank, if you guys don't remember, they were a major sponsor for many years in the Pro League. Oh, so the SCVs are completely gone here. All the SCVs getting taken out. Meanwhile, the probes are trying to hunt down the Marines here. Who's going to win between Stork and Boxer? Oh, man. The Zealots are joining in here with the probes to kill off these Marines. Imagine if Boxer was able to like bring Marines back to the main base of Stork though, and kill off the Nexus, and like maybe just somehow bait Stork away and kill off all the buildings to go for a win there. But I don't think this is boding well for Boxer. He's definitely looking in bad position. And GG, you are seeing the world's shortest professional PVT. Congratulations, guys. I'm sorry it had to be Boxer. Oh, probably many people's favorite player here. But a 3-minute and 55-second game of Stork versus Boxer on October 13th, 2007. Welcome to your little bit of history there. And of course, Samsung Kong, now known as Samsung Galaxy, representing right there with that big win. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up my hour now. It's been a crazy week for me, which is why I'm choosing not to just continue to cast until I don't want to cast anymore. So I'm going to call it a day. Guys, thank you. I hope to see you guys this Sunday when I cast the Africa Star League. It's going to be tiebreakers, which is going to be a ton of fun. And if you guys want to see Jay Hoon either like do some crazy fail Hoon Arbiter play or just roll over Terrence like he has the chance to, then come back and watch that on Sunday. Otherwise, the round of 8 is going to be picking up. Africa Star League's got some good matchups. We're going to see C versus Hero, Last versus Flash, and then Shuttle and Sack are waiting for their opponents to be selected from Group B between Sharp Jay Hoon and Piano. Of course, my co-caster XKCD will be with me. All right, everybody, take care and have a good rest of your Thursday. And if you're on Friday, enjoy that too.